Next up, the NFL Players Association, due to elect a new executive director next week. This is something that most of you don't care about, but it's fascinating to me for one very important reason. When you think about how any organization with elected representatives operates, or at least should operate, the players vote every 2 years on who their representative is to the NFLPA Board of Player Representatives. And those are the individuals. The representatives from each team are the individuals who will vote on the new executive director. At some point, I think it's important for the rank and file, the people who are the constituents for the Board of Player Reps, to know who the candidates are. There's a very small group of people who know who the candidates are for the position of executive director of the NFLPA. You'd think at some point they're going to let the rank and file know, and maybe they won't. There's a degree of secrecy here that is troubling to me, because in the absence of any transparency, it makes me think somebody is up to something. Somebody's trying to pull an inside job here. Somebody's trying to do something that they don't want any meddling teenagers to get involved in. Now, I've had it explained to me that, well, you've got individuals who are in consideration for this job, and it causes potential issues with their current employment. You maybe don't want your current boss to know you're thinking about trying to get this job. And at a certain point, you just got to declare yourself as a candidate. At a certain point, you're running for office. You can't hide it forever. You can't make it a secret in this setting where the 50 players on a team vote for a representative who then votes on who the executive director will be. To just tell the representatives isn't enough. At some point, you got to tell the people they answer to. Now, what the union benefits from here is the players just don't care. See, they don't care. If they cared, they'd know. Collectively, individually, they just don't care. So they're able to run this in a way that keeps it a secret until we know who the new executive director is. But boy, there's going to be a lot of questions to ask about this process. And I look at it this way. If the members of the union don't care, why should anyone else care? Well, it's still a fairly important job. And for those of us who rely upon the broader NFL ecosystem, I want to be reasonably confident that everything's kind of on equal footing, and that the union is properly positioned to push back when need be against the league. And the league is properly positioned to defend itself against the union. It was the 2006 CBA that threw everything out of whack and made the owners determined to lock out the players in 2011 and push for a deal that the owners wanted because they thought the 2006 deal was so bad for them. You never want, in a setting like that, one side to feel like it got a raw deal, because that makes that side eventually determined to do whatever has to be done to get a better deal later. Now, we've learned back in 1987, the players aren't inclined to strike because they don't want to go without their game checks. And frankly, I'm surprised the league doesn't push even harder than it does, given that the league will use the nuclear option, but the players never will. Still, I think it's important for anyone who cares about the NFL, anyone whose living is derived directly or indirectly from pro football, to be concerned about whether or not a proper balance is in place between the league and the union. Because if it gets out of balance, it can cause all sorts of problems, including games not being played at some point during the period of the calendar where games should be played. We almost had it happen. We lost one game in 2011, the Hall of Fame game, to the lockout. We haven't had regular season games disappear due to labor unrest since 1987, before that 1982, and I'd just like to not have it happen again in my lifetime. 2011 was a lot of time spent covering a lockout, and it wasn't fun for me, and it wasn't fun for you, and I just hope that the union and the league are in a position where they can hold each other in that right balance, where it never gets to that point ever again.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.